You know, me and him have been friends for 16 years.
I know you had a song like 15 years ago,
yeah,
too,
we've
right?
been like besties for a long time.
People always say that. But
No, this is real. Like, no cross the line.
Besties, like you always kept in touch and you always talked?
We would keep in touch. He would come see me when I had my plays. When I had my baby shower, he would come. Like, we were really friends.
See, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have...
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life. I love her to death.
Toni Braxton's marriage to Birdman is one of the messiest situations in entertainment right now. And when I say messy, I mean Toni secretly married this man in August 2024, then tried to get the marriage annulled just 2 weeks later. Think about that timeline. 2 weeks. Most people are still on their honeymoon after 2 weeks. Toni was trying to legally erase the entire marriage. And the reason? Kimora Lee Simmons. The fashion mogul has apparently been in a decade-long relationship with Birdman that never actually ended. And Tamar Braxton, being Tamar, caught them together and exposed the whole situation. According to Tamar, Kimora didn't even react when she was caught with Birdman. No embarrassment, no apology, just acted like it was a completely normal situation.
Toni. I think everybody was shocked when we found out that these two actually got married. I know, like, there's a lot of things we will do in order to pay our bills, but I never thought the relationship between Toni and Birdman was genuine. I just knew that he was just willing to go broke behind her. It just never fit. And so apparently in August of last year in 2024, they had a secret wedding. Finally got married in secret, even though everything else was public. And then she went and tried to annul the marriage 2 weeks later because she realized she had stuff.
Meanwhile, Tamar stood there shocked, watching her sister's husband with another woman who clearly felt entitled to be there. The audacity of that moment tells you everything about how comfortable Kimora feels in this arrangement. She wasn't sneaking around. She wasn't hiding. She was just existing in Birdman's life like she had every right to be there, because apparently in her mind, she does. But let's rewind, because this whole relationship has been suspicious from the beginning. For years, Toni insisted she and Birdman were just friends. Best friends. Nothing romantic.
People don't know, 2016, November, when I was on tour, October, I was really sick. I don't mean kind of sick. I mean like really,
From
really
lupus?
sick.
Or
I had a
from-
really
okay.
bad flare, and I was on tour. And every day I was on tour, he was there with me. If he left out, he would come back.
And this was before anybody knew you guys
We weren't
were
anything.
even,
It was
like-
buddies. It was
Right.
nothing. Not even a day. He was my friend. He was there. I don't know if
he
you ever...
already loved you. He's there every day taking care of you.
But you know, he really was there every day. My buddy, my friend. To you, all right? You good? I'm cheering good. You know, he was just there as my friend. Like cheering. I'm cheering good. Big Mama good. He was there every day for the shows. And on my off days, he would go and take care of his business, but he would follow me on the bus and just make sure I was okay. And I don't know if you've ever been really, really sick in your life and you feel kind of hopeless and you got somebody who's a friend that's there. That's kind of, it just made me see him differently.
Even when they were photographed together looking like a couple, Toni would deny any romantic involvement. She'd talk about their 16-year friendship, how he supported her, how they were just close platonic friends. She emphasized repeatedly that they kept in touch over the years, that he came to important events in her life, that they had a genuine bond that had nothing to do with romance. She was adamant about this narrative, almost defensive about it, like she needed people to believe they were just friends, even though the evidence suggested otherwise. Looking back, that defensive denial makes more sense now. Maybe she was embarrassed. Maybe she knew the relationship didn't look good. Maybe she understood people would question why a woman of her stature would be with someone like Birdman.
She's a bird. Continue the story. Go ahead.
Now, Flex, you know you can't say that.
What's her name? What's her name?
Miss Kimora Lee Simmons.
And Russell's your wife, right?
Back to the fab one, but back to the fab lane.
The baby was beating that. Go ahead.
Birdman played the same game. When questioned about their relationship at public events, he'd deflect, act like people were making something out of nothing, claim they were just hanging out. When interviewers would press him about being seen with Toni at high-profile events, he'd minimize it. say it wasn't an announcement of anything, question why people were making it such a big deal. His whole demeanor suggested annoyance that people were even asking, like their relationship status was nobody's business. Both of them worked overtime to present this as purely friendship, even though nobody was buying it.
You was at the awards last night?
Yeah, I was out there
Working?
doing my thizzle.
And you were with Toni, which kind of felt like some sort of announcement.
I wouldn't look at it as an announcement. Not for me, on my behalf. I just wanted to come. Me and T just went to the awards, check it out. So, what's the big deal?
It is a big deal. You know why it's a big deal? Because it's Birdman and Toni Braxton. And also because we don't see you like in a relationship. We talked about this last time when you
I've always been off the radar because I think me personally, I always felt your personal life don't have nothing to do with conflict with your
The denials were so consistent and so forceful that it actually made people more suspicious. If you're really just friends, why are you so defensive about it? Why does every question about your relationship status get met with irritation and deflection? Then in 2016, a blind item surfaced that changed the narrative. The item described an aging singer from a famous musical family who dumped her long-term boyfriend because of massive debt. Instead of choosing love, she reportedly decided to be with whoever could provide the most financial security. And the winner was someone with dangerous connections and enemies, someone living on borrowed time because of all the people gunning for him.
There's no date. We almost had a date. Well, we had 2 dates, but we were doing Braxton Family Values and we were going through a little drama. And I was like, okay, the wedding is a good thing to get all of our sisters together. Yeah. But I couldn't get us all together. And I said, the wedding's not a good reason because it's messing up my relationship a little bit. He's like, come on, Michelle, set a date. I know.
That's what he calls you?
Calls me Michelle. Doesn't call me Toni at all. That's my middle name, Toni Michelle.
That blind item fits Toni perfectly. She filed for bankruptcy twice, the second time in 2010 after canceling Las Vegas shows due to her lupus diagnosis. The financial pressure was crushing. She had family depending on her, debts piling up, medical bills from managing a chronic illness. The stress of maintaining a career while dealing with a disease that could flare up at any moment and destroy everything she'd worked for. And according to this blind item, she made a calculated business decision disguised as a relationship. She looked at her options and chose the one that made the most financial sense, rather than the one that made her heart happy. That's a brutal reality. But when you're drowning in debt and responsible for other people, love becomes a luxury you can't afford. Survival becomes the priority. And if survival means being with someone you don't truly love, but who can pay your bills, that's the choice you make. Toni later spoke publicly about how Birdman supported her during a severe health crisis in 2016. She described being extremely ill with a lupus flare while on tour, feeling hopeless and vulnerable. And Birdman was there every single day, checking on her, making sure she was okay, following her tour bus. Even when he had to leave to handle business, he'd come right back. She talked about how meaningful that support was during such a dark time. How when you're really sick and feeling hopeless, having someone show up consistently changes how you see them. That consistent presence during her lowest moment changed how she viewed him, transforming friendship into something else. She described him as checking on her constantly, asking if she was good, making sure she was all right. That kind of care during vulnerability creates bonds, but was it love or gratitude mixed with financial need? That's the question nobody wants to ask directly. When someone shows up for you during a health crisis, while also having the financial resources to solve your money problems, those feelings can get complicated. Is it genuine love, or is it appreciation for stability? Is it romance, or is it relief? Is it passion, or is it the security of knowing someone powerful has your back? Eventually, they stopped denying the relationship. Birdman proposed with a reported $1 million ring that you could see from across the room. The ring was so massive, so ostentatious, that it made a statement. He talked publicly about how excited he was to marry her, calling her his everything. His girl, his friend, his family, his love, his soldier, his life. The declarations were grand and public. He wasn't hiding anymore. Toni expressed similar excitement about planning a big wedding with family and friends. She talked about wanting to bring everyone together for this celebration, about how meaningful it would be to have her sisters there, about the joy of finally getting married again after her previous marriage ended. She sounded genuinely excited about the prospect of being someone's wife again, of having that partnership and commitment. Except the wedding kept getting delayed. First one date, then another, then postponements because of family drama during the filming of Braxton Family Values. Toni said she wanted the wedding to bring her sisters together but couldn't make it happen. She mentioned having 2 different dates set, but neither one working out. The delays kept stacking up for reasons that seemed increasingly unclear. And looking back now, those delays make sense. If Birdman was still involved with Kimora the entire time, he probably wasn't in any rush to actually get married. The engagement served a purpose, keeping Toni committed while he maintained his other relationship. But actually going through with the wedding, that was a complication he kept finding reasons to avoid. Every delay was strategic, buying him more time to have both women without fully committing to either. Then Toni announced she lost the $1 million engagement ring. Her explanation? It was in her luggage during a flight, and the bags were misplaced. Who keeps a $1 million ring in checked luggage? The story raised more questions than it answered. Did she actually lose it? Or was it a convenient excuse for why she wasn't wearing it anymore? Was it lost or returned? Did she give it back during a fight? The vagueness of the whole situation was suspicious. Shortly after the ring mysteriously disappeared, Toni and Birdman announced their separation. She posted a photo in a red dress with a caption about starting new chapters and choosing to be chosen. The message was clear. She felt unchosen. She felt like she'd been settling, and she was ready to move on. It seemed final, done, over. The relationship appeared to be finished, but it wasn't over. They reconciled and apparently got married secretly in August 2024. No public announcement, no big celebration with all the family and friends she'd talked about wanting there, just a quiet ceremony that nobody knew about. Which is strange considering how much Toni had talked about wanting a big wedding with all her family present. The secrecy suggests shame, like she knew people would question the decision, like she didn't want to deal with the opinions and concerns, like she was doing something she knew didn't look good but was doing it anyway. When you have to hide your wedding, that tells you something about how you feel about it deep down. And here's where Tamar's information becomes crucial. According to her, she's the one who introduced Toni and Birdman in the first place. She was there from the very beginning. She facilitated their initial meeting. So when she says Kimora Lee Simmons has been the real relationship all along, she's speaking from direct knowledge, not speculation. She's watched this whole thing unfold from day one. Tamar claims that Birdman and Kimora dated secretly for over 10 years, primarily between 2004 and 2014, which means their relationship overlapped with several of Kimora's marriages and relationships. She was married to Russell Simmons during part of that time, then married to Tim Leisner, then had a child with Diamond. And allegedly, throughout all of that, Birdman was in the background funding her lifestyle. Think about what that means. For over a decade, Kimora allegedly maintained a relationship with Birdman while publicly being with other men. She was collecting husbands and baby daddies while keeping Birdman as a constant financial and romantic backup. And he apparently accepted that arrangement, content to be her secret while she lived her public life with other people. He funded her lifestyle, supported her ventures, remained emotionally invested, all while she publicly belonged to someone else. And even after Toni came into the picture, Kimora remained, not as an ex, but as an ongoing presence. Birdman has reportedly called Kimora the love of his life, while referring to Toni as his soldier. Read that again. The woman he married is his soldier. The woman he's been secretly involved with for a decade is the love of his life. The language tells you everything. Soldiers are useful. Soldiers serve a purpose. Soldiers are loyal and obedient. Soldiers follow orders, but you don't marry the love of your life and call her your soldier. You marry your soldier when the love of your life won't publicly be with you. You marry the woman who's willing to accept being second while keeping the woman you actually want in the background. The reason Kimora won't publicly date Birdman, according to sources, is image. She's built this brand as a fashion mogul, a businesswoman, a respected figure in those industries. Being publicly linked to Birdman doesn't fit that carefully curated image. Her world is high fashion, luxury brands, corporate partnerships. Birdman's world is hip-hop, street credibility, a very different demographic. So she keeps him private while enjoying the financial benefits. She gets the money and the relationship without any of the public scrutiny that comes with being associated with him. And this is why Tamar confronted him. It's one thing to have a complicated past. It's another to actively disrespect your wife by maintaining a relationship with someone you consider your true love. And the confrontation happened when Tamar personally witnessed them together, acting completely comfortable and unapologetic. She saw firsthand that this wasn't an occasional slip. this was an ongoing relationship that never ended. But the most devastating detail? The wedding day itself. Birdman showed up late to his own wedding while everyone sat waiting. Think about how disrespectful that is. Your wedding day, the day you're supposed to be committing your life to someone, and you can't even show up on time. Already that's telling everyone present that this isn't a priority, that something else was more important than being there on time for your bride. But then he left early, claiming he needed to help someone with something urgent. And that someone was Kimora. On his wedding day to Toni Braxton, Birdman left the reception early to go assist Kimora Lee Simmons. Let that level of disrespect sink in fully. Your groom arrives late, then abandons you at your own wedding to go be with another woman, in front of your family, in front of your friends. Everyone watching as he makes it clear where his priorities actually lie. Toni filed for divorce 2 days later. 48 hours after legally marrying him, she wanted out. That's how bad it was. That's how quickly the reality of what she'd agreed to became unbearable. 2 days is barely enough time to process what happened. She must have been devastated, humiliated, furious. The man she just married showed up late and left early to be with another woman. How do you come back from that? But then something interesting happened. They reconciled again, and according to people close to the situation, Toni has essentially made peace with the arrangement. She knows about Kimora, she knows she's not the priority, she knows the situation is humiliating, but she's staying anyway. Why? Money, financial security, the ability to take care of her family without the constant stress of bankruptcy and debt. After 2 bankruptcies and years of financial pressure, Toni has apparently decided that being financially stable is worth more than being emotionally fulfilled. And maybe that's a valid choice. Maybe after everything she's been through, she's earned the right to prioritize security over passion. Maybe after battling lupus, managing chronic illness, dealing with canceled tours, and lost income. Maybe financial stability is exactly what she needs. But it's still painful to watch. A legendary vocalist, a woman who's given the world incredible music, settling for being someone's legal wife while another woman holds his heart. For now, Toni is Mrs. Birdman on paper, while Kimora is the love of his life in reality. And all 3 of them have apparently agreed to this arrangement. But history suggests these situations don't end well. Someone always gets hurt. Someone always reaches their breaking point. Someone always decides that dignity matters more than dollars. The only question is who breaks first and what happens when they do.